going on, everybody? Once again, back in effect, episode 7 of the Dale Valor's Inner Game podcast. I'm excited about this one. I've been giving this one a lot of thought, a lot of things going on, a lot of things to talk about and kick it about. And as always, I have my trusted confidant, Crossbow Killer, in the house. Oh, you changed the name on there. I didn't even notice that. It was funny because, obviously anybody watching this, we're doing this on Zoom, and I sent Shabam the link, and then when he pops up in the waiting room, I'm like, Crossbow Killer. Like the last thing on earth that I would like
think of,
is a nickname for Shabam, Crossbow Killer.
That's the thing. It was like an old gaming account. I'm basically having a Zoom call via tablet, and it basically had that account linked in, like the Google account for that. It just was there, and it was like the name got carried over in Zoom, and I'm like, even I didn't notice. I noticed it when you said, I'm like, wait, what? And I was like, that's where it came from.
Did I ever tell you about that interview that I did with when I was hiring interns back in the old company days?
No.
Okay. So I'm hiring interns, and so I put a thing out like on monster.com or one of the job search websites, and I'm going through the applications, and so I got like 3 or 4 people that I'm gonna set up interviews with. Dude seemed cool, like his resume looked good. So I hit him up. I'm like, yeah, man, can you jump on at whatever day, whatever time? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Super stoked, super excited. Young cat, man. Like this guy was probably like 19. He was in college. Okay. Well, he gets on. What was so funny to me, first and foremost, and I get it, by the way, like I'm not clowning the dude for this, but man, this dude was like dressed to impress. and here I am wearing like my normal everyday clothes, and I'm like, blah, 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 this is what we do, and there. And this dude's like sitting here like prim and proper, got on a full suit, and he just looked interview ready. Like he was like getting his like he was having an interview to intern at a law firm or something. That. But what was killing me, and he didn't notice it, and then when I brought it up, oh my God, the look on his face. He didn't change the name of his Zoom name to his real name. And what was on there, it was like Hugh Johnson. All right. So Huge Johnson.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
And I know that's not his real name, you know what I mean? And I was like, dude, I got like, we're going through the whole interview, right? And I'm like, I gotta know, man. I'm just curious, like, no homo or anything like that, but how huge is your Johnson? And he was like, what? And I was like, well, that's your name. So I figured I would ask the story behind it. And he was like, oh my God. He's like, oh, I can't, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, dude, man, you're hired, man. Like,
just for that reason.
More or less. I mean, his specifications, everything was fine, But I was like, dude, that makes you a shoo-in, brother. Like, like, I don't care. And so, but the look on his face just killed me. He's like,
he basically had a panic attack at that point.
But I'll tell you this, I can almost say with 100% certainty for any job interview that guy ever goes to do, via Zoom or something like that ever again, he's going to double check that
The
before
name,
he
yeah.
before he goes live.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been a couple of weeks since we have recorded a podcast. For those of you who can't figure this out, it's not live. We set aside the time to knock these things out and give you a little bit of entertainment and a whole lot of knowledge, right? So just wanted to catch up a little bit. I know you were telling me that you started kicking it with a new girl, and does she know you as Crossbow Killer?
Actually, surprisingly, no.
You didn't lead with that? Like, hey, how are you? My name is Crossbow Killer.
That would be a really good pickup line, I swear. It's like at least that interesting and mysterious, that sort of a thing.
Or the psychopath, but
sure. Like girls like bad boys. What can you do about it?
So what's transpired? What's been going on?
Nothing much. We just happened to meet online initially, and we were just like casual friends. We didn't initially think much about it. Then we started talking and just found out that we have similar interests and all that. And she seemed quite interested in me, so I was like, okay. And we got talking each other. Then it went to video call. Then dates and stuff like that. So it's going pretty good for now. It's recently started. This is just last week. So
okay, gotcha.
No major progress yet, but
Yeah. Well, what I like what you told me is that from what it sounds like is that you're getting investment, right?
Yep.
That now you had worded it as interest, but I want to reword that as investment, right? Meaning she's prompting these interactions and she's prompting you to hang out or do whatever it is that you're going to do. That she's investing. What is she investing? She's investing emotional energy. She's investing her time. She's just those two things alone, is valuable.
It's a very good sign. Right? It's a very good sign. It's like the best indicator of interest.
Absolutely. Like I've seen so many guys, where we'll just say we'll put it in a dating app context, okay, where essentially now they're getting a little bit of investment, but not nearly enough. In other words, it's a lot of one-word answers. She's responding, but she's not really giving you anything, right?
Yeah.
And I see so many guys that are they've been dialoguing with this girl for 3 or 4 days, and it's just very short answers, very, just nothing there. And
nothing there.
And they want to flip it. They want to, well, how can I get her more invested? It's like, man, look, you've been at this for 4 days now. Why bother? I'm going to call if it's me, I'm going to call her out, in a playful way. I'm not going to be like, look here, start giving me a few more words. I'm not going to say something like that, but what I am going to say is something along the lines of listen, seems like you got a lot going on. I'd love to have an actual conversation with you. When you got the time, jump on here and let's talk, and it's just kind of calling her out politely, right? Letting her save face and things like that, to where she has to, because sometimes people don't know, and maybe she recognizes that and it's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, he's right. This looks, I'm not giving this guy anything to work with at all.
Yeah.
So sometimes that flips it just by calling her out, because shit, man, I'm not going 4 days doing that.
Yeah. There's no way. That's just too long. Honestly, one of the things I do suggest is, try to include witty humor, and at the same time, don't be scared to be a bit bold. not only in like, the flirting sense, in the sense that if she really gives you disrespect, it's okay to just say, like, sorry, it's not working out. And, you can take your hands off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, at the end of the day, even if it doesn't work out, she will respect you. Because the moment she showed disrespect in any way, you backed out. So it shows that you're a guy of value.
Right.
Because who else can, just walk away?
Yeah.
Girls don't have that experience. Guys never walk away. They will, they are just so used to. Yeah.
I love what you said there, because there's I was just talking to one of the guys that's in the Modern Flirting VIP program just like earlier this week. And he's been kind of going through it with this girl that he's been seeing. Like it's kind of leading in the direction of a relationship, but there's kind of a little seesaw action going on where like he's all in and she's pulling back. Then she's all in and he's pulling back, right? And so there's been kind of a little bit of that. And there's been some things that he's pointed out to me that has kind of bothered him a little bit about her, but not enough to be a deal breaker, but enough to like, address it and say like, this isn't acceptable, things like being like late all the time, late, they're going to hang out. She's 45 minutes late, half hour.
That's
late.
A bit much.
Yeah. And or either that, or like now, mind you, they've been out a gang of times, like this isn't like a second date or a third date or something like that, where she'll cancel, an hour before, but like going like, like they made plans. We'll just say like Friday night, we're going to go and we're going to go bowling. All right. And, an hour before, she's just like, oh yeah, I just had a really rough day at work. I'm really tired. Can we rain check, that kind of thing. And it's like, man, an hour, you know what I mean? Like I'm okay if you have to reschedule for some reason, like as long as it's a legitimate reason. But to me, like that's a little rude in my book.
Yeah.
I'd be upset with that too. So anyway, some of this behavior is stuff that bothers him, and he'll call her out on it and things like that. But there was one episode, I can't remember exactly what the situation was, that was very recent. And he was like, yeah, man, he was like, I'm really glad that I've discovered that I need to have the willingness to walk away. Because he was kind of asking me if he should, and I was like, yeah, that's great. The willingness to walk away. The problem is that you're not demonstrating that beforehand. She needs to know that you could walk at any time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. If she doesn't know that and then you walk away, it's like, yeah, that's good that you're not, just letting this persist. But at the same time, once you walked away, you walked away. If she knows that you will, the problems are going to be addressed a lot faster,
Yep.
So, and I'm not saying you have to give ultimatums to like every little thing, like you got sprinkles on your ice cream, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's a bit extreme, no doubt, but like,
right. But she has to know that you are a guy of value, that you're a guy that can attract other women into your life, that you're that type of guy that at any moment she could be put on notice.
Yeah, right? Like, if it's not working, then, you'll find someone else. It's like there's no shortage type of thing. Now, I would add a bit of a caveat there, especially if that girl is very young, or if she's not, used to dating, or
she's
say
not
something
young,
like.
I'll tell you that. I mean, she's not old. No. But 30, if I remember.
No, I'm just saying in a general context gotcha. Like if she is young, or if let's say she's a virgin or something, then you can cut her some slack, because those girls are more, a bit, prude. Like they don't show show attention, attraction that easily. But that's a very specific case, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so, because I mean, like I'm talking, I get, and you're right. Funny story. I'll get to that in a second. But so but what I'm talking about is just basic decency.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
basically,
Like
sincere.
being
Yeah.
respectful of people's time and things like that. You know what I mean? That's kind of more along the lines of where I'm going with this. But
Yeah, yeah.
this girl, one time I met on a dating app, uh, kind of young, not super
Hmm,
young, like she wasn't 18 or something, but I want to say she
hmm,
was like 21, I don't know,
hmm,
something
hmm,
like that. And uh, we agreed to go out and go out on this
hmm,
date. Well, we go to this place, and she was cool. We had a good conversation.
hmm,
It's a good time, and nothing came of it, like
hmm,
in a sexual sense. Uh, that was okay. I could tell that she was just her demeanor suggested
hmm,
to me that she was somewhat inexperienced. Okay,
hmm, hmm.
but in that case, I'm not. I, I'm all
Yeah,
about giving space. I don't want to make anybody
yeah, exactly.
uncomfortable or something like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, but whatever. It was still fine. And I was down to hang out with her again and all that.
Hmm,
So I'm talking to her like I don't know a couple days later. We're texting, and she says to me, she was like, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Like that
something
never
funny is gonna come up.
that
Yeah,
never
that
begins.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
never
never a good
ends well.
sign at the beginning of a
Yeah,
conversation. So
yeah.
what she says is, she's like, I just need you to know this. I'm a virgin. And I'm kind of like, all right. Now, see, here's the deal. I know I'm a little bit different than most guys in this regard.
Hmm,
That's a huge turnoff to me. Like
hmm,
it just is. Like, I don't want to be her first sexual experience. I just don't.
hmm, hmm,
So I like a girl that knows a thing or two, and I don't want to, be showing
hmm,
her the ropes, and it's awkward, and anyway, it's not for
hmm,
me. So,
hmm.
um, but she goes past that, and when she said that, I was like half foot out already. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, and then, she says, she was like, something else you should know. You should feel a little honored and privileged. And I'm like, how so? She's like, that was the first date that I've ever actually been on. And I'm like, what? And then to top it off, because it was her first date, her friends and family was all there at the place that we went to, which, and I didn't know. She obviously knew, but I had
Yeah,
no idea. Right. So like
yeah.
her mom and dad are there, and like, I'm like, all right, this is getting beyond strange to me.
Yeah,
So we never did go out again, but
yeah.
but yeah. So quickly before we get into kind of the theme here of today's episode, Christmas. Got Christmas coming up in a couple of days. Beyond that is my birthday, which is the day after Christmas. Let me tell you. Now, you guys don't celebrate Christmas, right?
I don't, but my friends do. Like, I
Really?
have Catholic friends. So yeah, I have
Okay.
a lot of Catholic friends. So
Oh, all
we
right.
celebrate together. So
Okay, cool. All right. Fair enough. All right. But obviously, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not as culturally significant as it would be here, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, let me tell you, having a birthday the day after Christmas is no good time to have a birthday, and for a couple of reasons. One, weather is terrible. we had a winter storm last night. It is like right now. Hold on, let me check. Let's see what the temperature is right this minute. 9 degrees with a wind chill. Do you know what wind chill is? I can't
Yeah.
imagine you even have that. Maybe in northern India where the mountains are stuff.
Yeah. No, not here, not here. We don't have it here, but on northern side, we do have that.
But you do know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, it wouldn't have surprised me if you didn't. -16. So it feels like negative 16 degrees outside right now. So again, not a lot of options because weather sucks. All right. You're coming off of Christmas. So a lot of people spent a bunch of money already. They're not trying to like go out and do stuff. They're not trying to buy presents. They've already bought presents, right?
Yeah.
They're also, they may have family in from out of town, or they might themselves be at somebody else's place out of town, right?
Yep.
So it's like people's schedules are all messed up and things like that. Then to top it off, you got New Year's that's like 5 days away, you know? So I'm sandwiched between the biggest holiday of the year and the biggest, like, arguably the biggest, like, party
event
of the
party
year.
night. Yeah. Yep.
So my birthday gets put on the back burner. Nobody remembers it. Like, outside of, like, on social media and things like that, Facebook and whatnot, like I'll obviously, people will, hey, yeah, happy birthday and whatever. But the people that are like legitimately in my life, I will probably get 4 or 5 happy birthdays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm not saying this to like pat myself on the back and be like, oh, look what a great guy I am. It's not virtue signaling. But I will say, I would absolutely love to see this become a, I don't know, man, some kind of movement or some type of, something that people do, because, and I don't get birthday presents and things like that. Me and my wife, we might go get dinner or something like that, but that's about the extent of it. Okay. So it's almost just another day, really, And so what I will do is, I feel like your birthday, is kind of a benchmark once a year in your life that people should, recognize, your importance to them and how you affect their life, and so I don't know, I started doing this, maybe 10 years ago, something like that. On my birthday, what I will do is, like if me and my wife go out to dinner, I will pick up somebody else's tab randomly. That table over there, bring me their bill, that type of thing. Like it's a reminder to me as to what my purpose is in my life. It's that same benchmark that I'm here to help other people, right. Help people improve, to help people have, the kind of life that they want to have, to overcome limiting beliefs. And, like that's what I do, and so if I can do that just on my birthday, just like helping somebody like that. I bought groceries before, and then I'm not looking for adulation. What I'm looking for is for them to just, I don't even want them to know that it was me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just want them to experience it, like,
because it's like, you do something good. You do something good for someone without expecting anything in return. That's kind of like,
Right. And it's just a reminder to me that this is, I'm on the right track in what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm throwing that out there for whenever, you guys watching the podcast, whenever your birthday is, if you are in the position to be able to, and it doesn't have to be financial, man. Maybe you go mow somebody's lawn randomly.
Yeah.
Maybe you, I don't know, maybe help some old lady with her groceries. It doesn't have
just
to be
something
money.
Good, just something good for the community or for someone.
Just a kind-hearted effort to make your mark on that benchmark day, to remind yourself, this is part of why I'm here, is to help the people around me, to give value to the people that may or may not be in my life, but that's what I do. I give value.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of, limiting beliefs and in the whole, the whole inner game thing. If by now, if you don't know what inner game is, I'll simply break it down. It's the relationship that you have with yourself. If you can't have a good relationship with yourself, how can you have a good relationship with others? Right? So one of the things that it's so funny, man, so funny. I'll get into that in a second. But one of the things I feel like that holds people back the most, and it builds so many narratives, negative narratives that they buy into themselves. It's like you're telling yourself a lie that's bad about yourself that you believe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's literally like, the best example would be like, digging a hole and jumping yourself inside, like, what else can you do? Like, that right. Sort of a thing. It's like literally digging your own grave in that sense.
The way I like to think about it is, it's like you're going to build, you're going to build the foundation of a house. All right. Yeah. So, and what you're doing is, or better yet, you're going to build just a building, okay? And you're laying the bricks to, build this building, right? So you start with one wall, then you move on to the next wall, or maybe you're just going all the way around and all the way around and all the way around and all the way around, but you're on the inside. And those bricks is all part of the narrative. And as soon as you're done, what you realize is all you've done is built yourself a prison. You're trapped in there. You know what I mean? And so how are you going to get out? And that's in large part what we're dealing with here in this podcast. It's just simply being able to stop buying your own bullshit that you tell yourself, and in large part, and I get this, I'm not trying to minimize or say that it's not a big deal or whatever. But a lot of people that have had traumatic experiences, build narratives from that experience, and they let them, right. And it affects them. And then for all the reasons in the world, man, like I get it. Everybody has been through stuff. You show me a person who's never had anything negative happen to them, and I'll be like, nah, just wait. Your day is coming. You know what I mean?
And it's going to be something bad. Like, the longer it takes for that to happen, the bigger the thing possibly gets,
Yeah, like it's coming. It's just part of life, man,
Yeah.
So it's about how you're going to deal with it. Now, obviously, some experiences are going to be more traumatic than others. Somebody who, when I think of like a POW in the Vietnam War that was in a prison camp for 5 years or something like that. Yeah, his experience, I would say, is quite a bit more traumatic than somebody that lost their job. So obviously there's varying degrees of this trauma and what needs to like be unpacked and all that kind of thing. But here's the deal. This is what I tend to find when people have went through something really traumatic in their life, is that they let that trauma define who they are. I'm the guy that this happened to, is almost like their identity. It comes across as like the very defining character of who that person is. And that's such a terrible way of going about it. And I get it. I understand why a person would come to that conclusion, but it's not. It's false. It's not even part of who you are, to be honest. If somebody just randomly, case in point, this just happened 2 nights ago. All right, I get a knock on my door. It's about 8:30 at night, and I open the door. There's a dude standing on the porch, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm the new neighbor across the street. My name's Dan." And I hadn't met him yet. He had just moved in recently or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Dale." And he was like, "Hey, I don't know if you know, but last night someone broke into my house, and my house got burglarized." And I'm like, what? No. He was like, hey, how long have you been living here? And I was like, about 5 years. And he was like, has anything like that happened around here? And I was like, honestly, not that I'm aware of. Like it's, it's not a big crime area, Now the surrounding area is, but not right here directly. I was like, so no, like I haven't really heard of anything. And he was like asking me if I had any type of video camera or anything like that may have captured anything. I was like, man, I'm sorry, I don't, and but that's a traumatic experience, not yeah. He wasn't hurt, he wasn't home, but the thing is that you feel I don't know if you've ever like had someone like kind of like steal your shit, or if you got robbed or anything like that, you feel violated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially if it's in where you live, you feel violated. Like, how dare that person come in here like that,
Yeah.
And so now what I'm getting at here with this particular situation is that has nothing to do with Dan's character. That has nothing to do with who he is as an individual. This is just a circumstance that happened to him. Right?
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with who he is as a person. Now, I don't know a whole lot about him, but I know that that's not his fault. And apparently somebody kicked in the back door, and got him. But that has nothing to do with who he is as an individual. Here's what I believe a lot of people don't understand about trauma is that, something that's traumatic that happens to you is simply something that happens. Again, I'm not trying to downplay it or anything like that. Could be any litany of terrible things that happen to you, right? The list is endless. You know what I mean? Alligator eat your leg. Who knows? But pterodactyl swoops in and flies away with you.
Wait, that would be different.
But
that would be funny though. Yeah.
But any number of things could happen. That's just an event. The real trauma is all the things that you attach to that event, right? Yeah. Once the event happens and it's done, right? It's done and over with. There's water under the bridge. Can't go back in time and change it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
It happened. Yeah, it is what it is. Like, I feel the biggest problem for people is that they keep reliving that memory instead of letting go. Like, I understand, like, it's not a fun experience. I mean, like, like I know people who had like, terrible divorces on breakups, and, like even after like 15, 20 years, they're still, like they still sometimes feel that way because subconsciously they've been running through that again and again and reliving that memory. Right. So for them, it's like very fresh and, it feels like it just happened yesterday. Now, it's kind of self-programming in the sense that you're just basing your entire life and, your character, like, around that incident.
Right.
Now, you can take lessons from that incident, nothing wrong with that, but like, just getting caught up in it and, just going in that infinite loop of, why, it's just never a good way to go at it.
Right. I mean, a lot of times there is no answer to that why. Why did dude's house get broke into? Because someone wanted to break into it. I mean, that's really the only answer,
Yeah, like, I mean, that's it. Like,
like a lot. I mean, even stuff that just, like, I don't know. Remember years ago when there was that earthquake in like the Indian Ocean, and there was like all those like tidal waves and stuff, and like there's no why. Like,
I mean? There's no why for that. It just happened, right. Like.
So that being said, again, that experience isn't your fault, and then also that experience isn't the defining thing of your life.
Exactly.
Instead of that, start focusing on the attachments that you have to that. And I get it. It can be powerful. I'm again, I keep saying it, but I just want people to really understand. I'm not like taking this lightly. I've worked with people through a lot of different traumatic experiences. I mean, we're talking about uh, suicide prevention. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? And talking people out of doing something that's ridiculously stupid and sending themselves to prison forever. You know, like things like that. And so I'm not by no means am I downplaying any of this. And I get the power of your mind reliving these things. Okay. But at the same time, if you can start cutting the cords of attachment to that event, it minimizes and it separates. There's a separation there, right? So think of it like this: if I got a bunch of balloons, right? I got a bunch of balloons, and that's the trauma, right? Like each balloon is part of that trauma. If I got scissors, I'm attached to it, right? If I got scissors and I start cutting the rope, they're going to dissipate, right?
Yep.
I can still see it, but it's getting farther and farther and farther and farther away, you know?
Exactly.
So now I can hear what everybody is thinking. Sure, Dale, like that would be great.
If it's that easy, you know, easier said than done.
Right. You know, like, which I totally understand, you know, but I think that there's a couple of ways to really start working through that trauma. All right. You know, a lot of times people who have experienced trauma and things like that, this isn't every case under the sun. Okay. I'm speaking about something very specific here, you know, in childhood. Okay. I did a 1-on-2 boot camp a couple of weeks ago, and one of the guys, Indian dude, by the way, his experience growing up. Now this dude's 48, okay, and so he's not, you know, we're talking about
much older experience
and more.
Yeah,
you know, and so the thing is that his relationship that he had with his parents, his dad specifically, was such a, it's not like, you know, I've heard worse cases. It's not like he was getting beat or anything like that. But the thing is that his dad had no type of emotional acuity, you know, like he never complimented him. He was super hard on him. Would like not be verbally abusive, but at the same time would be very passive aggressive with him, you know, things like that. And it's like he could never like live up to that standard that like his dad was putting out there for him, you know. And you know, one of the things that I asked him once, I was like, can you forgive him? You know, and he was like, I think. And I'm like, man, don't tell me, don't give me the answer you think I want to hear. Tell me the real answer, you know? And he was like, I'd like to think that I can, but I don't know. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, can you forgive yourself? And he was like, well, how would this be my fault? And when I told him once, I was like, I feel like you're not forgiving yourself for not being able to live up to that standard. Light bulb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it started with him being able to forgive himself, right? And then as an extension, forgiving his dad and his mom, by the way, too. Because even though he didn't really have beef with his mom or anything like that, he didn't really get the proper type of protection.
Attention. Yeah.
No, he got attention. He didn't get the protection. She never stepped in and was like, you know, you're being really hard on it, you know, like that type of thing. And so So that was something that we had to work through. I believe that, being able to forgive in like it's some crazy circumstantial thing, act of God type of situation. You get hit by lightning, or you're caught in an avalanche, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, who is there to forgive, right? Well, I would say, firstly, can you forgive yourself? Because when, like, something that you brought up earlier was the why, like, you were saying, the why behind it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you added on to that by saying, um, those people relive those experiences and
Yep.
likely are thinking, right, could I have done something different?
Exactly. They
Right.
just keep reliving and trying to, find like the perfect solution,
Mm-hmm.
in which case, that problem would not have occurred if they had done, X
Right.
thing.
Yeah. But I didn't.
And yeah.
One of my, classic examples of this is if a woman, like, because I've seen this happen. I've talked to many women that, like, that something similar to this. I'm kind of making up a just broad generic story here, but if a woman is, say she is staying over at a friend's house and hanging out, whatever, and she's gonna walk home. It's late at night, and the friend is like, "No, just stay here. You can stay, you can crash the night or whatever." And the girl's persistent, like, "No, I need to get home because I got to get up early tomorrow, go to work, and blah 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 blah." And we'll just say from point A to point B, some dude jumps out of the alley and rapes her. I've seen it happen where that woman blames herself. I should have listened to my friend. In so many cases, you don't know what you don't know. She didn't.
Yeah.
You're only operating off of the knowledge that you have at the time.
Time.
Of course,
Exactly.
she wouldn't have went home if
she knew. That's what
the raper is in the alley right now. You know what I mean? Of course, she wouldn't have went home. Just operating off of the knowledge that she had at the time. Don't know what you don't know. And so something traumatic happened. And I've seen it happen where people blame themselves. I should have stayed there. And you got, if you're going through something like that, you got to be able to forgive yourself for that. Right?
Exactly.
Because
that's like a very big thing.
Yeah. You're never going to let it go.
True.
Also breathing exercises and meditation helps to a very large degree.
It's like, like you said, it's like confronting your inner self in that sense, because it's him who you are judging, kind of, like the best example was what you gave just now. Like, when the traumatic event happened, the girl keeps blaming herself. Like, I've seen similar cases, and I have kind of had like a similar case in the sense, like, I told you about my, like, past breakup, but like, even I was like that initially, where I was like, what could I have done differently for a different outcome? You think about it and you think, maybe it's your fault that, that happened. Now, the more than likely reality is A, that was going to happen either way. And B, you did what you thought was the best at that exact time.
Right.
You can't be blamed for that. That's your best logical judgment at that situation. You know what like you said, like you can't change that.
Yeah.
So like, and thinking that it's a mistake is also wrong, because that decision or that thing you did back then brought you to where you are now. So if you kind of reject your past, in essence, you're rejecting yourself at the current situation, which is kind of a bad way to look at it. Rather, learn from what you could do better and, go for it. Don't think of it as a mistake. Think of it as, okay, that was a lesson I needed to learn. Like, say, like you had a bad breakup, for example. Yeah. That was a lesson for you to learn how to trust people and, know whom to trust. Rather than blindly giving away your trust to anyone. It's like, be careful while, screening, pre-selecting, that sort of stuff. It just makes, your life more fulfilling in the long run, rather than, just
100%
going at
100%. Yep. So do you got, I know that you got some type of questions that relates to this. Let's have it.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask was like you said, how, like, what could a person do? Like you said, the best example you gave, there's balloons and you cut it. Okay. What's the real world alternative to that? How would you let go, knowing that you know it, but you want to let go of that past traumatic experience or memory? How would you do that?
Well,
More a practical, like a beginner solution, you could say.
yeah, okay. So, I mean, it somewhat depends on what the experience is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, uh, for instance, with letting things go, a lot of times what people do is they run from the
Mm.
uh, the negative feelings attached to the circumstance, right? I
Mhm.
don't want to. Nobody wants to feel bad, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
But
Nobody. Yeah.
here's the deal: the human experience. There's no getting around it. All right.
Yep.
And so, what I would rather do is confront
Mm.
the negative feelings versus
Yeah.
push it down, act like it didn't happen. The laughing clown, or I mean the crying clown type of thing.
Mm.
Like just keep pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. And I mean, it's like anything else, man. Like think about like a pipe. If a pipe
Mhm.
has too much pressure in it and there's no release valve, what's going to happen? Things going to explode. you know
Yeah.
and then you got a big mess if it's like a water pipe or something.
Yeah.
So if there's no release of pressure, that thing's going to blow. And
Mm.
so what I recommend doing is, you got to set aside the time to do this. It's not something that you would do, spare the moment, or you got like a
Mm.
big job interview coming up or something like
Yeah.
that. But actually reliving that experience, in a safe place, in a place that you know that you're good, and just feel those feelings. Let those feelings work their way through. I'm a really big advocate of humanizing feelings and
Mm.
asking the feelings why. You know, so for instance, we'll say somebody uh uh we'll say that somebody lost a leg. All right,
Mm.
like from maybe they had diabetes or something. I don't know, but they
Mm.
lost a leg. All right, a terrible car accident. We'll just say. All right,
Mhm.
and so that the feeling is, it could be any number of things. It could be that I'm lesser than now.
Yeah.
You know, I feel sorry for myself. It could be anger, like that person
Mm.
hit me and changed my life forever. Like it could be any number of emotions that you feel. And by the way, you may feel all of those at the same time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not like there's this shift of just emotion to emotion to emotion to, like you could be mad and sad at the same time, right?
Yep.
So it might be a culmination of these emotions, but humanizing them and asking them, like, for instance, say the person is um, scared about their future. Well, what girl's going to want to go out with, peg leg Bill over here? What girl or like my job is physical labor, and can't
Mhm.
exactly do that on one leg, So,
Okay.
there might be a fear of the future, So by humanizing that fear and asking that fear why. See what we do is, and it's a losing battle, is these emotions, we try to fight them directly,
Mm.
right? Like, nope, not gonna feel that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I
We,
mean?
we just try to bottle them up and like throw the bottle away, like that sort of a thing.
Right, but
And
that's never
this
gonna work.
gonna work. Yeah.
But if you can find out the why, okay, so why fear? Like why do you exist? Right?
Mm.
fear may say back to you, I exist because of the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the future. Yep. So fear, if I was able to game plan a future for myself, given my current condition, I guess there's really no reason for you to be here.
Exactly.
Now you can start, you're feeling it, but now you can start actually dialoguing with it and dismissing it, letting it go to where it's no longer a triggering thing for you. You know? So yeah, man, I think that's one of the best ways that you can do it on a kind of a beginner type of level.
Yeah, like, face it and let go, like, in that sense. Because that's the thing, like, generally, I think, like, whenever some traumatic event happens to you, right, it's actually a good indicator of, like, who you are, like, who your truest, people are.
Yeah.
That's also another thing you can actually notice. Like, for example, when someone says that, they care for you, when something traumatic happens, the people who are actually there for you then are the people who genuinely care. Because, like, say, anyone can say, I care for you. Like, it's easy to say it.
Yeah.
In actuality, like, when shit hits the fan, people who stick with you, the friends, the family members, your lover or everything, like, that is kind of the biggest thing. Because okay, let's assume there's something traumatic happens to you. Like you said, like, you had an accident, you lose a leg. If your girlfriend is gonna be like, sorry bro, you don't have a leg, we can't date anymore. Now, you might think at that point that's a very bad thing. Yeah. And it feels like a bad thing. But let's be honest. Do you really want someone who was going to abandon you at, like, a drop of a hat when something bad happened to you?
Right.
That's like a terrible life partner. Exactly. Like, that's a terrible life partner. You don't think about it that time, like, because it feels bad and everything. But it's like, imagine you had kids with such a person, and later on something happened and they just, take their bags and leave, and, you're kind of left off fending for yourself. Rather than be in such a situation, what actually happened was for the good. That person is out of your life. You can actually get someone who actually is understanding and accepts you for who you are, rather than rather having someone who pretend interested in you simply for, like, external things or anything. Like, people can fake anything. That's also a factor. So that's also a good thing.
No doubt. All right, well, listen, I think we should put a bow on this one. And so listen, guys, if you're getting value out of this podcast, what I would love for you to do is share it with somebody that needs to see it. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, to the YouTube channel, please do so. It just helps so much when you do that. So, and I know you hear that everywhere, like on every YouTube video on planet Earth, but it is true, So, if it wasn't important, I guess nobody would say it. So please do that. And if you need anything, if you need to reach out, if you have a question or a situation that you want help with or addressed, dude, drop it in the comments, DM me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link up our Facebook group. We got 3,700 guys inside of that Facebook group right now. And, everybody there is looking to, get help and give help, So that's all something. That was weird. My door just opened out of nowhere.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
So become a member of that group, contribute to the group, ask questions. That's what it's there for, So, well, listen, until next week, hope you guys have a good Christmas and good New Year's and good my birthday and all that.
Have fun.
All right. So that's what's up. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.